Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us. Today, we have a very interesting discussion, a new launch that just happened recently at IBM. I have with me Kate Soule. Kate, how are you?
Doing great, Pascal.
Kate, you're the Generative AI Research Program Director at IBM. You help lead the Granite program development. And what we're going to talk about today is the launch that recently happened of Granite 3.0. Am I saying it right?
Yes, Granite 3.0. We're very excited.
Granite 3.0, what does it mean for companies? What does it mean for your business? Um, uh, what is next? How to grab the benefit you can get from it? We will cover all this in the coming minutes. Kate, thanks again for being with us. So, IBM has just announced Granite 3.0, which seems to be a significant leap in AI technology. Can you give us a comprehensive overview of what it is, what it entails, and why it's a game changer for businesses in today's AI-driven landscape?
Absolutely. So, Granite 3.0, as the name suggests, is actually our third generation of large language models that IBM has now released into the open source. So, we're very excited about this latest release of large language models. They cover four different language models that range between 1 billion parameter and 8 billion parameters in size, that
Mhm.
are all released under Apache 2.0 license for companies and users to be able to pick up and use. And they also coincide with the release of several key tools and companion models, including what we're calling our Granite Guardian model series, which are safety guardrail models you can use to help increase a safe deployment of a large language model, and
Okay.
other models that help improve model efficiency at inference time. So we're releasing an accelerator model that helps models run more efficiently and run faster when it comes time to deploy.
Excellent. So just to make it clear, how many models do we have and what is the name of each of them?
Okay, so we've got several different models of different sizes. So I'll go through them all. We've got our 2 billion and 8 billion parameter Granite model, which are the workhorse models meant for day-to-day tasks.
Okay.
We're releasing both a base model version and an instruct model version. So there's two versions of these models. They're all released on Hugging Face.
Okay.
And the difference is instruct models are ready to go out of the box. You can take them and run with them. The base models are meant to be customized. You can take them and fine tune them further or build on top of them in different ways.
Okay, so the others, the instruct one are more for professionals, developers, more technical
Exactly. If you are a
background.
developer getting
Yeah,
started, you'd probably go straight to the instruct model, ready to
excellent,
hit the road. So,
excellent.
in addition to those four models, we are releasing another set of four language models that are our efficient model series. They're called Granite Mixture of Experts. So we've
Okay,
got a 1 billion and a 3 billion parameter version. So they're smaller, much smaller. They run a lot faster. And they have all sorts of new innovations from IBM research, which mean at inference time, when they're running, they're much more cost effective to run. They're very cheap and fast. So we've got
that's the mini version
yeah, mini version.
of the Granite 3.0. Okay,
And then finally, we have the Granite Guardian models, and we've got two versions of that, a 2 billion and an 8 billion parameter size model. And so these are the safety guardrail models. So these sit side by side with the main Granite models, any model actually, it doesn't need to be Granite, and they help detect potential harmful inputs or outputs from the model. This helps you add more layers of security to any model deployment, making sure you can identify potential adversarial attacks or harmful model outputs, and then course correct before anything ever reaches an end customer.
okay, that's a very interesting, very important topic and very interesting topic that I want to touch upon with you in my next question. But just for now, as we are presenting these models, can you tell us about the performance of those models? Because that's something that we are all looking for.
Absolutely. So these models are state-of-the-art models and are toe-to-toe with all of the leading competitors when we look at models of this size in the open source domain. So we've actually evaluated these on over 100 different benchmarks. and have released them into a technical paper with all of the performance figures out into the open. So anyone can go and find the full report. But on academic benchmarks, our models are matching all of the state-of-the-art performance. On enterprise benchmarks, so if we look at tasks in the enterprise domain, areas like cybersecurity, we actually see Granite models lead, doing significantly better than some of the other competitor models. And so we're really excited about these models being great generalists, but also performing well on enterprise tasks and performing well on safety too, which is another core part of performance.
Thank you for sharing this. That point is very interesting for me because so those models are good generalists. They are at par with the others on the market. But what is very important is they are better for business use cases. So that's can you explain why that's so important?
Yeah, absolutely. So IBM has built these models ultimately to be valuable tools for enterprise developers. And in order to do that, that means training them on high quality data that's relevant in the enterprise domain. Your model can't do well on cybersecurity tasks if it's not trained on cybersecurity data, right? So there's a knowledge and data curation step that's really important in how these models are trained. But it also comes down to the safety and security, right? Also, if we talk about models and being suited for enterprise tasks. And so we also have tried to emphasize that strongly in the development of these models.
Got it. So not only they are good generalists, they have a good bachelor, but you've made them go to major and minor on specific topics related to business, so that they are currently better in those specific fields, which is the most important for all companies using those systems at the end of the day.
Right. And I think what's also important is we've built these models in mind to be further customized. So we've included enterprise relevant data like cybersecurity, but there is so much more enterprise data that our customers have that is private and proprietary. And we want to make these models a starting point that anyone could take and could further customize, could build on top of. And in order to make sure that we can satisfy that mission, that value proposition that we see for enterprise AI, we're releasing them under Apache 2.0 license, which means that anyone could take these models, build on top of them without any sort of claims or any sort of restrictions on the model's use, on the downstream use. And that's really important because once a model is customized with your data, it's essentially another form of your IP, and you don't want any competing or complicated licenses around that. So Apache 2.0 was really important to us for that reason.
Yeah, and that's quite different from what we can see on the markets currently. Yeah? And that's really where, another point where you stand out with Granite 3.0 with the capacity to, it's almost an open source. Now we can say it's open source. And
I think there's a lot of debate, on what is open source, what is not. But I can agree that we're really, really excited about Apache 2, and it's a dwindling field that are offering Apache 2 license models. We're seeing more and more restrictions on models. And IBM felt it was critical to make sure that we had this open and transparent base that people could take and customize further for their tasks.
Excellent. So something that that's a very important point. Another very important point is safety and transparency. And you started to touch upon this aspect with a specific, how do you call it? An add-on or on the Guardian?
An add-on model. Yes, our Granite Guardian model.
Yes. And I think this is very important when at a time where we are all, scared by deepfake, by biases, by lack of transparency, we need something to help us, and that's another key release that you have here.
Well, whenever you think about layers of security, you want to think about layers, right? You want to try and add as many different types of protections and safeguards as possible in order to maximize your coverage across different scenarios. And we've taken the same approach when it came to the Granite model series. So First is making sure that the models have a rigorous and very meticulous data collection and curation, making sure we remove as much harmful and adversarial content as possible so that we
From the
have
start.
high quality
From the start.
from the start.
That is so important, you know. I see so many of the companies I'm helping having a look at the biases or those issues when the models are done, and
Yeah.
and they have to redo everything. So I mean, starting with the right data and doing this kind of analysis from the beginning is so important.
You have to build on a strong foundation, right?
Yes.
So that all starts with the data. But
Yes.
once the model is trained, we also do a series of evaluations and an activities called red teaming, where we stress the model. We try and find weaknesses. And we actually build out what's called a safety taxonomy. So we map out all these different dimensions of safety, and we try and probe against all of those different dimensions and find where does the model fail, where does it break, so that we can iterate, we can continue to, and we go through several of those cycles and processes to continue to strengthen the model's internal safety and robustness. So this really is kind of an iterative process working. And then we do external validation. So we actually do external testing of our models. We allow and have several contractors that can evaluate our models for safety and provide reports as well. So it's that's an important aspect of safety and making sure it's not just us validating safety, but we have external third parties giving us information and providing additional information on safety. And then we release the model with a companion. So that's all for the model itself. And then as we talk about more and more layers, we have the Granite Guardian companion on top. And now that's an even stronger layer of security that can both continue to potentially identify harmful model outputs, but also can identify harmful user inputs. So if you think about somebody, an adversary trying to get the model to trick it up to doing something, potentially, you know, giving you a free ticket to a movie or something, going against your corporate policy in a chatbot scenario, the Granite Guardian can help identify those adversarial attacks and stop them from ever reaching the model where it could potentially get confused.
Excellent. That's very clear. That's very clear. We talked about the business aspects and the business specifics of the model. We talked about specifically cybersecurity as one of the key business use case. Do you have in mind other use cases that?
Sure. So working very closely with IBM Consulting, which has a huge workforce, you know, right, working directly with customers on a number of different tasks. So one example of another area we've worked on with Granite is on BPO, different situations where you're outsourcing different processes, right? And being able to automate that more effectively using Granite models would be another example. And, you know, there's going to be more and more, I think, of these enterprise-specific models coming out in the near future as we continue to identify these opportunity areas and bring that high-quality data into Granite and release versions that are more and more tuned for these enterprise tasks.
Excellent. And that's why we call it, in the press release that just went out, enterprise AI was a key term.
Exactly.
Can you tell us how companies can effectively integrate Granite into their existing data environment and workflows to unlock the value of the model? I mean, are there some specific tools, for example, or methodologies that IBM offers to facilitate the integration?
Absolutely. So all of our Granite models, our main Granite Instruct models are available in watsonx AI today. So anyone can go and get started, and using the broader watsonx platform can hook those models up to your data, up to your governance systems, up to assistants, and be able to use them to power different workflows. So that's available out of the box. We also have unlocked and released with a couple of key partners the Granite models on platforms like Olama and Replicate, giving developers easier access to the models to start to play with them, experiment, and start to test out different use cases. So if you're a developer looking at how do I get started, what can I do to test things out, we have a lot of tools that we're releasing, all available. More information on all of these are available on ibm.com/Granite, where you can find out different ways to access the models, how-to guides, and even different notebooks that have already been creating, showing different workflows, like how you could apply Granite for in a RAG use case, which is a very popular task, right, in different enterprise settings.
So our retrieval augmented generation, which is critical to manage the information in a company.
Exactly.
And this is really part of the key tools in the toolbox of Granite in general.
Absolutely. Yep. And we have recipes and how-tos so you can get started and go running with Granite.
Excellent. And what is great with IBM is not only you create solutions, technological solutions, but you implement them and you use them to serve your clients. So that really makes it compelling.
I mean, we test out all of our models internally first, right? So we make sure
Yes.
that we understand and can drive internal innovations and use that to iterate and to continuously refine before it ever makes it out the door to customers.
Um, that's really great, and I'm really looking forward to trying it. Let's talk now a little bit more about the future and what. So we see the integration of AI agents and assistants to be a major focus for IBM in part of your AI strategy. How will this shift impact the way businesses operate and innovate? And maybe to start with, what are the plans that IBM has with those agents?
Well, Granite, first of all, out of the box supports agentic workflows and has capabilities like tool use. And that's really exciting because all of the places where we were seeing large language models running different workflows and summarization and chatbot use cases, we can now start to incorporate external information more easily through API calls and these tool uses. So that's going to just enrich the data that AI assistants have and can use to both respond to questions as well as take action, right? Now you can have assistants that can set up and interact with non-agentic and non-LLM based workflows too, using those API calls. So we're giving models hands to be able to go out into the world and actually make changes in controlled settings, which is really exciting. Assistants also are going to make workflows less brittle. A big part of agentic AI is the concept that these models can start to plan and can react when a plan fails. So if you can program some, high-level desired behaviors, the model can try and execute that and can learn and adapt. As a query might come back without enough information, it can learn to write another query and look somewhere else for more information. And so that is going to start to unlock different use cases that before were just too brittle for models to be able to handle, giving us ultimately more value in places where we can try and automate and drive value.
Excellent. So it's not the future, it's already there, no? And
It's
it's already
already here.
available.
I mean, I think there's a whole spectrum of what people call an agent and what counts as an agent or an assistant or not. So, I
It's a
think
bit of a hype, huh?
there is some hype, but the idea of models making API calls, getting external information, models reacting to plans and changes in plans, that's here today. That already is here, and you can start experimenting.
Excellent, excellent. And the capacity to connect with other tools through APIs
Exactly.
uh, is critical. Um, uh, let's, I mean, I'm putting myself in the shoes of two types of business leaders. The first one, those business leaders who haven't really started going into AI. What would be your recommendations to them, and how would Granite help them in this?
My recommendations would be to focus on what are these high value tasks that take a lot of manpower today that aren't that complicated. We have models now that are excellent at things like summarization, at filling in structured forms and content, of taking unstructured knowledge and putting it in a much more structured format. And if we can find those tasks where there's, a lot of value to automate, and I would also focus probably on things that are lower risk, things in the back office versus the front
Mhm.
office, right? If you're getting started with generative AI, those are great learning grounds to start to develop the skills and the tools kits in order to deploy large language models.
Excellent. That's a great advice. And maybe how to find this is maybe just by talking to the team members and understanding where are their pain points, where are they spending most of their time on tedious, repetitive tasks,
Exactly.
where they should be spending more value time elsewhere.
These
That's
models aren't great at automating the really challenging, interesting, motivating parts of your day. These models excel at these repetitive tasks and pain points in your day-to-day operations. So that's a great place to start.
yes, excellent. I'm putting now myself in the shoes of a CEO who already started its transformation into AI, and might find some difficulties to scale it.
Sure.
Uh, what would be your recommendation, and how would it fit with the new Granite?
My recommendation, particularly if they already have some experience, is to think about where your data differentiation lies. Where is your critical IP? What is it about your business that creates this moat that is your cornerstone that you've built your business around? And how can you start to represent that inside of a large language model?
I
Because
love
if
it.
we can take that information, right, and bring that into a large language model, that's going to start to help you scale that differentiation even faster and broader. And that relies on making sure you have a trusted base model, making sure you have
Mhm.
a model that you have full rights to customize, like Apache 2 license model, like Granite, and making sure you have techniques and tooling to be able to take data and encode it inside of that large language model through methods like fine tuning, through methods like synthetic data generation to create the training data that you would need to tune your models. And IBM actually and Red Hat also have a couple of products just along those lines called Instruct Lab, designed especially for that use case of taking enterprise knowledge and encoding it within a Granite model that would be very valuable to look into.
Excellent. Very, very useful. I love it. I love it because that's really about amplifying, strengthening the core value of a business through AI. And that's really the right approach. I completely align with you. Um, Last question for you, Kate. For business leaders who want to know more, who want to know more about Granite 3.0 and how they can partner with you, what are the concrete steps they should do, and where they can find more information?
IBM.com/granite is your one place that you should go for all of the information. We have a whole documentation site with technical reports, how-to guides. We have a playground, so no login needed. You can just show up and start playing with Granite and testing things out and seeing how Granite's capable of. And on IBM.com/granite, you can directly learn more about watsonx AI and all of the supportive offerings that IBM creates as a software around those models.
Excellent. So you have a sandbox where companies can go. Is it free? They can try it for free and see.
Yeah,
Um,
anyone
yeah,
can go. It's
excellent,
a open playground. Anyone can go try it
excellent,
out. And we continue to keep it updated with some of the latest and greatest coming out of IBM.
excellent. Kate, thanks a lot for your time, for your insight. Congratulations for Granite 3.0. Thanks for joining. It was a pleasure. Any word for the end?
No, thank you so much, Pascal, for having me. Really excited about the newest Granite launch and really appreciate you helping us tell this story.
Thank you, Kate. And thanks to all of you for watching us. See you next time.